Hey everyone, it's Sunday, the day after Record Store Day, the 13th. I don't keep up with holidays. I don't even know. Is this Easter or is it next weekend? Oh, it's Easter's next weekend. Well, hello folks, I'm coming on because cheers. So I ended up going back down to Grapefruit Records yesterday. Not so much for Record Store Day, but to get paid, to get my money from my gig Friday night. Friday night, yeah. And I didn't buy anything at Grapefruit, but I hung out with folks. David Nance was working, and Simon was there. I was saying to Simon that he really does impress me as a person. Always has. He has so much stamina. It's like runs the store, is a musician, is a parent, and just just very quietly and humbly just does these things and just keeps going. My kind of person. Had fun hanging out with David. Just really like him a lot. I do. Got more feedback from Simon and a few folks who were at the show the previous night and were there shopping. It was a real positive experience, and I only so far have one short 40-second clip of me doing my symphony of sound, but no, I don't have any of the footage yet of me doing my other material. Waiting for that. I will share it though. But as far as Record Store Day, I'm not anti Record Store Day. It's just unfortunate that the bottom line of everything is not what it ought to be, as far as I'm concerned. The bottom line of everything is profit, and it just takes the fun out of everything. So there was a Wire Record Store Day release, but I don't want to pay $52 for these. If I looked at it correctly, I already have everything on it. It's just their singles combined all onto a couple LPs. Not for $50. Kind of a bummer. Now, yesterday was one of the rare days when Grapefruit's used section wasn't looking that hot to me. That happens. So I went over to Homer's. It's all in the morning. And Homer's had this gargantuan line. So I just stood out front with one of the employees who was serving, he was selling carnitas. Did I said it right? Food and drink to people as they were lining to go in. So I hung out with him and his wife for a while. Had a really nice conversation about Record Store Day and some other stuff. And he was talking about how he had gone to see Jack White in Omaha, but had also seen him in Kansas City, and was reflecting on how he thought the Omaha show was lackluster. But I was there talking for a while, and the line was just long and staying long, so I waited and came back down to the market in the afternoon and to see, because I thought to myself, the few items that Record Store Day is pushing here in America that I want. I didn't want the David Bowie. I have a bunch of David Bowie, but I'm not a fanatic Bowie fan. So I don't have to have every single new piece of shit that they drop out of his catalog. So I didn't get the Bowie, but I got two of the items I was most interested in that I knew would come to America. It's the overseas Record Store Day list that I find the most interesting. I bought some used records also at Homer's because, and I was sharing this with someone who was at Homer's who happened to be at my show the night before. I didn't know this young man, but he was very complimentary, really was saying he had never heard music like mine before. And I'm happy to say, Chris, the guy from Big Cat from Oakland, was asking me, well, what do I call my music? He said, because I don't know about all these genres. And I said, well, that's the thing. I'm not calling it anything. It's probably to my discredit that I can't be pigeonholed, but I'm just making music, and it's electronic in nature because that's the tools I use. But this isn't techno. It's not electronica, really. It's not prog. It's Dereck music. Happy to say that for some reason, this is selling again from the archives. As damn well it should. You ought to get one before they're gone. That's what I like. It's selling slowly. I just sold one yesterday, and I sold one the day before, as well as at the show. Before you know it, they'll be gone from the archives. You ought to get this. It's been selling. I like that. So I'll just casually show what I have here. I won't try to put it in order. So at Homer's, I bought like maybe 3 used albums. Here's one of them. I already have this, but Peter Hammill, Fool's Mate. I love this album. The deal is, though, it's another Rhoda. It's another from the Rhoda collection. Rhoda was my kind of people. So the deal is I have a UK non-gatefold copy of this. Have for a long time. But I like gatefolds, and this is the US pressing. It's my label, Charisma. It's in very good shape. I listened to this all the way through, and you know what I enjoyed about this, and another album that I played, is that as I listened to it, it wasn't a nostalgia listen. It was like, these are really good songs. I really like this music. Some of the words I don't relate to. That was what put me off of Van der Graaf Generator for the longest, was how wordy Peter Hammill is. At first it was like, this is a distraction. I'm not listening to his words. I want to hear the music. But yesterday I really enjoyed all of it, and some of the songs are pretty personal. Others are like, you can make of them what you want. But musically, it's super strong. Very close to a Van der Graaf Generator album. I really like it. So here's one of the 2 record store day items that I bought, and this is the one that I really wanted. I kind of figured because of the price and because I'm in Omaha that it'd be there. My taste isn't that obscure, and yet compared to mainstream Omaha, I'm way out in left field. So I was able to get Ovo by Peter Gabriel. And while I was in the store, one of the employees, Michael, who's a real good guy, was trying to help me locate a copy because we thought maybe it would be in the Peter Gabriel section, if not in the record store day section. Wasn't finding it, and then just as I was about to stop, there was one on the wall. And Mike said, Mark Manor, who's one of the long-standing employees there, said, Mark probably put that there knowing you'd spot it. And I said, well, I did. So I got it. I've had this since it came out on CD. And he has a lot of special guests on here. It's a story. It's connected to his Millennium project, that building. So it starts up kind of tepid to me, but gets better. But one of the reasons why I was excited to get this, I'll show the vinyl. It is pretty, blue and orange. Was for the graphics. Excuse me. The accompanying booklet. Let me show the other record though, because it's my favorite color. Good graphics. You know, Liz Frazier of Cocteau Twins is on here. That's my color. Oboe. It's a good pressing, good quiet pressing. I love it when that's the case, when the record is actually high quality. And these are high quality pressings. And then the booklet is this is a highlight. When it came out on CD, I thought to myself, this needs to be full size, and now it is. Bright, colorful illustrations, the story of Oboe. So this was definitely a highlight for me to be able to see in full size the booklet, the illustrations. It's neat. And I think the album ends strong. It starts off, for my taste, kind of weak, but by the time we get to Downside Up, The Nest That Sailed the Sky, and Make Tomorrow, those are highlights. He's got good people on here. He's got that fella from the Blue Nile singing on here as well. I like his voice. Overpriced, but so like, for example, I looked at the Yes 3-record set live thing that's out for Record Store Day, but I'm not paying $60 for it. And the thing that I found disappointing about it is that here they are mocking up for the Yes live album. For $60, they make it look like a bootleg. I don't want that. I'm paying $60. Give me something to look at. Give me some graphics. That's one of the aspects of Record Store Day I don't like. But it's just, we know we're going to get you. We're going to get your money. What else? This was a holdover in the used section from a former Record Store Day. Homer's Does That. And I was complaining about that to one of the other people who was in the used section buying like me, and we struck up a conversation. I told him that I, for one, notice how Homer's holds back some of their prime used material for Record Store Day, and that pisses me off, you know, because on Record Store Day, the used section is primed. And the person agreed with me. They said, yeah, that's unfortunate that people who may really want this stuff don't get a chance to get it. So I picked this up out of the used. The Sound, Counting the Days, UK band, Adrian Borland, took his own life. Mark Burgess, who I played with from the Chameleons, was friends with him, was with Adrian the night before he committed suicide. When we hung out, Burgess and I at the house, after the first time I played with him, he was telling me the stories, because I was showing him my collection. He freaked out. He freaked out at all the stuff that I had. That's like, what are you doing with this stuff? Like the Passage and the Sound. I love the Sound. Well, I used to cover a song by the Sound. I Can't Control Myself, or I think that's it, off the album Jeopardy. But anyway, this is a reissue. It says that this is the first time it's on vinyl, clear vinyl. Now, what was nice about this, and I listened to all of this one album, it's a double album, is that it sounds current. Adrian Borland was not a pretty man, which works against you in the music business. If you're not a pretty face, people don't pay as much attention. He was very good, a good songwriter, very passionate and honest in his words, as well as the music. So this sounded like almost current. It did not sound dated, and the song structures and his choice of chords, not typical. This was a real good listen. I still have a couple of their other albums. I don't have Jeopardy anymore. I should have kept it. I wore it out, actually, when it came out, me and my roommates. So the Sound, real happy to get that. Now this, I don't collect this band, but when I come across their records used, I usually pick them up because I do like the band. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I picked this one up in the used. It's them live in Adelaide 2019. I like the graphics. It's a 3 LP set, colored vinyl. I'll show them. 5 sides, 1 side etched. But the price was just less than $20. $19.98, basically. So yeah, I'm getting this. Nice colored vinyl. And this is good. They played here, and I didn't go. Like I said, I'm not really excited about live performances anymore, except to play. Going and watching is not that interested. I really am not anymore. Here's the other album with the etching. I like stuff like this. Good band. They are. They play well. What is it? Microtonal or whatever it is that they do, where they play songs that are in that particular tuning, where it sounds like it's not quite in tune, but it is. And then the third record is a different color altogether, complete different color. So this was fun. I mean, besides actually liking the music, but as a record collector and a vinyl fanatic, 3 LP colored vinyl King Gizzard for $19.98. I'm getting that. And this is good. They're a good band. They play well. And they've made a lot of music, which I find intriguing because it doesn't sound like they repeat themselves. Very creative. It's a big group of people, which is also intriguing that, you're able to keep this large ensemble together. And they play well together. King Gizzard, live. I have 2 more. 1 more used and then 1 more record store day. And then I got something in the mail yesterday. So this was in the used section, and it was like $6. And this again goes back to the 60s and the 70s, where I know this is not something I'm particularly going to be wild about, but it's like, okay, it's part of my collection. Jamme. And I had just recently seen something about them in one of those videos where they're talking about old records that you should know about. This is Pop, Jamme. 2 fellas, Don and Keith Ade, and in their backup band are some of the Wrecking Crew people. Larry Knechtel, Jim Gordon. This is pop. It's not psychedelic at all. It's straight pop, but it's good. It's in that Emmett Rhodes sort of bag, where these guys can write songs, they can sing, and they utilize the studio. So I think there's an orchestra on here and stuff. And I found this interesting, that somebody must have thought that this was something where they're going to make some money or something. Somebody backed this up because it's on the ABCL Dunhill label, but this unusual, the Dunhill is not, doesn't have the rainbow, and then there's that other insignia for Warlock. Production company that probably put money into this. Only listen to one side of this, but knowing what to expect from this, knowing well what, I really quite enjoyed this. Jamme. Pretty good. It's not psychedelic. It's good though. And the other record store day thing that I wanted was Pale Saints. Slow Buildings. Now what's interesting is I have almost all Pale Saints stuff. I have the singles from this on CD, but I never had the whole album in physical form, just as a download. So I was real happy to get this, Slow Buildings. And this is what's funny about Homers, is that they're so focused on the mainstream, they couldn't even find this in the system. They hadn't even put this in the system. I had to help them put this in the damn system on their computer. And it's a record store day release. They only got one copy for me, apparently. I like this band. I like their sound. Nice color vinyl. I haven't played the second album yet, so it's got some demos on it that I haven't heard yet. But the song Fine Friend off of here, it's a favorite song of mine. I played it. I haven't recorded, but I've played it. I know it. I just like it so well that I've played it to myself many times. I like the woman's voice on this. It's not the other fellow singing so much. It's the woman singing on this album. So that was my record store day experience. I don't go looking for it, but it's interesting how I go through when I go out in public. I go through this now where I'm recognized by people I they're obviously just fans, and that happened to me at Homer's while I was standing out in front. This little pudgy guy with his kids comes up, "Oh, it's Dereck Higgins," and then he starts babbling to his kids about who I am. Kids don't give a shit. I thought it was kind of touching. It's like I'm not expecting this stuff. But it happens. When it happens, it's nice. It is. Somebody else did that yesterday. It's one of the best bass players in Omaha. And I'm just kind of going like this. He says, you know it's true, Dereck. You know it's true, Higgins. I appreciate it, folks. I appreciate the love. I do. And then I received in the mail yesterday this thought this label was done, but Paul Pavlovich has managed to put out another release on his Roman numeral label. Okay. Well, this is nice. He does actually say he's still interested in collaborating with me. Money is truly a curse. It certainly is. So this came in the mail when... It's funny how this will happen. It's happened many times. Like my son, I like Blake, but Blake is the trumpet player on the Muse. I like him a lot, but I don't see him as often as I'd like to for a number of reasons, some of them not good, okay? So he finally comes over yesterday, and when he comes, I hadn't checked the mail. This was waiting on the front stoop. And it's been like that many times in the past where he's visiting and it'll be mail time and I'll receive a package of music and he'll say, well, I'm your secret, I'm your little magical thing. When I'm here, you get records. I said, it seems like it, doesn't it? And that's what happened yesterday. So I, go to let him in, let him in, and there's this on the front stoop. From Roman numeral records, this is 3 flickering horns, forever framed. I think the artist is Appropriate Savagery. Nice. This is ambient. Like the cover, like the water. It's fitting. Listen to one side of this with Blake, and it was what he needed because I don't want to put Blake's business out there. He deals with what a lot of musicians and artists deal with. Okay, put it from there. So he wasn't in the best of mood when he got to the house and needed to talk about stuff, And so when I put this on, music by David LaCroix, mastered by Stephen Matthew, designed by Paul. This hit the spot because it's flowing. It's very nice. It's ambient. Beautiful vinyl too. It's just really helped Blake get out of the doldrums because I was happy to see him. And he was saying he didn't want to bring me down with his negative energy. I said, well, let's get rid of that negative energy. Okay, you don't have to hold on to it while you're here. And this music helped. Appropriate Savagery. Paul, if you see this, thank you. Apparently you're still watching me. Thank you for the compliment on inner image. Yeah, I would love to get that kind of treatment from a record label on one of my records. I sure would. So that was record store day for me, and that was my Saturday too. It was a good day. I actually don't have to, but I took my stuff. I took records down for trade on Friday, but they were so busy. He said, "You'll probably have to wait till Sunday before we get to them." So today, sometime in the day, I may go down to see what I get for the trade. I may wait till tomorrow. Family, I hope you all are doing well. I hope everyone is doing well. Still glowing from seeing my David. No, he's not my blood. He's not my actual son. Long story short, but again, don't want to tell people's business, but David and Sarah, the kids that I call my kids, ended up staying with me because their mom was dating a musician who I was in a band with this musician. The mom and he had a humongous fight in the middle of winter, and he freaks out and kicks them out. They were living with him, but he put them out in the street. I had already been smitten by David in particular at rehearsal. I'd be at rehearsal, and here comes this little towhead boy with some grapes. You want some grapes? That was it. It stole my heart. He was a brat, but I just love him, okay? A lot of people couldn't stand David when he was little. I just, But anyway, that's how all that happened. I took the kids in. I said, I can't take everybody in. The mom already had another boyfriend. That's what the whole fight was about. So she went her way. I said, I'll take the kids, until you find something. And I just basically adopted them and said, I'll stay with you until you're out of high school at least. You can live here, And so they did. They lived on and off with me in the school, PTA, talent shows, doctor visits, everything. Everything. That was me. I loved it when, for a time, David just spontaneously started to call me Dad. Now, here's what's funny. I'll finish up. There's another long one. It's funny because living in Omaha is like living in a big small town. So it turns out that David and Sarah's dad is a local musician who I had already met and had a run-in with. Didn't know, this is before the kids were born and stuff. Musician. They called him Raven. And I had a particular memory when I found out, that's your dad? Oh, shit. It reminded me of this wild party I went to back in it had to be the 80s, late 70s or 80s. See, I forget. But it was after party from a show in Council Bluffs, which is very racist. But I was with friends, and they said, this is going to be a really good party. You should come. And I went. I was the only black person there. It was tense for me. There's been a lot of tense situations there. But it was a wild party, and there were some people who were really out of control there. Had drank too much, and one of them was Raven. And Raven, David's real dad, was one of the reasons I left the party. He was so out of control, and then come to find out that's David's dad. Small, funny world. So, when Raven finally started to come around because he was dealing hard with alcoholism, and he's sober now for several years, I remembered him. And I waited. I didn't tell him the story right away because we got to hang out a few times where he was able to thank me for helping out with his children. I finally told him the story, and he didn't remember. But anyway, that's what I got to share, and it's time to go. Have a good weekend, folks. Well, the weekend's almost over. Just take care.